Hey everyone, this is Jerm, and this is College Pro Tips, a series where I help those of you in college, either your first year, second year, or anyone who just needs some advice or general help in navigating your post-high school education. And today I want to talk to you guys about backing your stuff up. Now, if you're watching this, there's a good chance you are a little bit on the nerdy side like me. Now, I don't mean nerdy in a bad way. I'm a nerd. I'm not ashamed of it. I love nerds. But chances are, if you're watching gaming videos on YouTube, backing your stuff up may not be a foreign concept to you. But first, let me explain why you need to do this. And just in case, if anyone's listening to this and you've never heard of that term before or you're not familiar with it, let me explain. So on your computer, you have documents. You have essays for school, you have pictures of you and your friends and family, you have all your music, you have all your movies that you got totally legally from iTunes or somewhere like that. You have your video game save files. You could have a whole lot of other things. You could have your prawns on there, and you don't want to lose this stuff. And you might be thinking, well, my computer works fine, what's the danger? Well, here's the danger. Everything in your computer will eventually break at some point or another. Now, you may not have the computer long enough for all of the things to break in it, but unfortunately, one of the first things to break is the thing that holds all of your stuff, and that is your hard drive. Most physical spinning hard drives last about 6 to 7 years, and 6 to 7 years is a long time, but you know, they may fail before then too. I've had hard drives fail after a year. I've had some arrive dead as soon as I order them, which of course that happens about 5% of the time anyway. I've had some last only 2 or 3 years. You know, it happens. Hard drives go bad. And when the hard drive in your computer goes bad, you might lose everything on it. Chances are you'll lose everything on it if the hard drive crashes. You could pay a lot of money, maybe like $1,000, and have some data recovery people pull stuff off of it, but you know, we can probably avoid that by just being smart with our data. I recommend having 2 types of backups. What I do personally in my computer at home, which holds tons of wedding photos that I've shot and edited, it holds video projects, it holds all of my gaming stuff for this, all kinds of things. I mean, I have easily a couple thousand gigabytes of what I would consider to be medium important to extremely important stuff on my computer. So I have a second hard drive in my computer, exactly the same size as my primary storage drive, and it clones itself. My primary storage drive, I have a program I run called SyncToy. I'll put a link in the description of this video, and SyncToy creates a clone of my first drive onto my second drive. So every time I run it, probably every couple days, at least, sometimes every day if I'm working on big projects, it takes all the new changes I've made on the primary drive and copies them onto the second drive. So if my primary drive dies, I can just access everything on my secondary drive just like nothing had changed. And at most, you know, if I ran the backup 2 days ago or something, I'll lose a day or 2 of work. But I do this often enough that there's very little chance of me actually losing any of my data. I might just lose some of my progress on a project. So that's my first backup. I call a local backup. Now, think what happens if, say, where I live catches on fire, or my computer catches on fire, or a bad electrical shock goes through my surge protector, somehow gets through it, gets into my computer, and zaps all my hard drives. Well, I would lose both my primary and my backup, and you know, I don't want to do that. I want to have some other form of backup, and that's why I have an off-site backup. I have a bag that I carry around with me everywhere I go. It has a camera in it, it has my iPad, it has some various little things like a multi-screwdriver and a flashlight, some ibuprofen, a couple pens and pencils, you know, little things like that that's good to have around with you. And another very important thing it has is it has a 2 terabyte hard drive with an exact clone of my primary storage drive. So that same drive that's cloned onto the other drive in my computer, I also clone it using the same program, SyncToy. I clone it onto this external drive, and if I leave the house, or for those of you who have listened to a lot of my videos, I actually live in a camper. When I leave the camper, the bag goes with me. It doesn't matter where I'm going, the bag goes with me. So if something catches on fire, if I get robbed, if anything happens, I at least haven't lost all of the stuff I've been working on for years. So that's my methods of backing up. Now, I deal in a lot of very large files, though, a lot of images and video and things like that are work related. So that's why I have that method of backup. If you're in college, you may be looking for a cheaper solution or an easier solution. You may have a laptop, so you can't have 2 hard drives in it. So I'm going to suggest some very viable alternate ways of backing your data up. Now, if you are in a major that primarily writes papers, does research, stuff like that, which are quite a few majors, then most of your documents that are school related are going to be fairly small. And for these, I would recommend 2 things. I would recommend a thumb drive, and you can actually use SyncToy to sync your thumb drive between a school folder on your computer and a school folder on your thumb drive. That way you can carry the drive to class, work on it, carry it back to your dorm, plug it into your computer, and when you sync it, your computer now has the latest versions of everything. I find that to be extremely convenient. So you can do that with a thumb drive, and thumb drives are cheap. You can get a 32 gig thumb drive for somewhere around 30 bucks, or a 16 gig for 15, 20 bucks. So that might be able to hold an entire semester's worth of work, which is good. But if you do that, you need to make sure that the files are also being backed up onto your computer on a daily basis, at least every couple days, preferably every day, because that thumb drive will eventually break. I mean, it's a tiny hard drive inside it as well. Yes, it's flash storage, which does last longer than a conventional hard drive, but the actual thumb drive itself, its little working parts, they could go bad. I've had 3 thumb drives go bad on me in about 6 years, which isn't that bad. But when it does go bad, I lose everything on it. So I always make sure my thumb drive only has stuff that I'm moving from one location to the other. So if I'm taking it to class, working on it, and then bringing it back to my dorm, that was fine. Because as soon as I got back to my dorm, I synced it up, and now my computer had the most recent versions, and then when I backed up my computer, you know, that data got backed up several times. All is good. So thumb drive, first thing I would do. And then I would sign up for a Dropbox account. You probably are already familiar with Dropbox, but in case you aren't, Dropbox is a folder on your computer that is backed up into the cloud, onto Dropbox's servers. So any computer that you have a Dropbox account on, you can access this folder with all of your stuff that you put into your Dropbox folder. And if you don't want to install Dropbox on the computer, like if you're using a computer in the computer lab that's not yours, then you can just log on to the Dropbox website. Please use an incognito mode in Chrome or some other anonymous browsing so someone can't steal your stuff. But you can log into the Dropbox website and access all your files there. That is a great way to back up things that you absolutely can't lose. Now, Dropbox for free typically only comes with about 2 gigs of storage, but you can get extensions and upgrades on that by sending out referral links to your friends and other things. So I've worked my way out to about 15.5 gigs over a couple years. So you can get more storage, or you can pay for a little more storage. It's very, very cheap to pay for a couple gigs extra storage. And when it comes to backing up your schoolwork, I highly recommend you do that. So those are my recommendations. Please, 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 if you haven't backed your data up, do it as soon as possible. I do a small amount of IT in my day-to-day job, and it sickens me every time I have to tell somebody that they have lost everything on their computer because they did not back their stuff up. Now, sometimes these are people that I've sat down with before and I've come up with a backup plan for them. You know, we've planned out exactly how they're going to back their stuff up. We've gotten them the hardware and everything they need to do it, and then they just haven't done it. And I don't feel as sorry for them. I feel bad that they lost their stuff, but I don't feel sorry that they didn't take it seriously. Please take it seriously. You don't want to lose important school documents or pictures of your friends and loved ones and things like that. Don't rely on Facebook to back your pictures up. Don't rely on that one thumb drive or that one laptop hard drive to back all your school things up. Back them up now. You can do cheap or free options. There's no excuse not to do it. If you have any questions on setting up a backup, please come talk to me. Otherwise, have a great day.